You know, part of what she released was that in 2013, and then she listed the top 10 allocations and how it went. Akwa Ibom gets 260 billion. That's the first. Then Rivers gets 230 billion. So they're next in rank. Delta, 209 billion. Bayelsa, 173 billion. This is in Naira, actually. Lagos, 168 billion Naira. Kano, 140 billion Naira. Katsina, 103 billion Naira. Oyo, 100 billion Naira. Kaduna, 97 billion Naira. Borno now comes in with 94 billion Naira. These are all funds that have gone to the states, and this does not add up or doesn't even bring or add the internally generated revenue.
Exactly.
So if they add their IGR to the monies they already receive, that's the figure. It will be huge.
Yeah. I mean, some states wouldn't have high internally generated revenue. Lagos, Port Harcourt, Udoh, Lagos Rivers, Udoh, some of those states are doing quite well. Some states are not doing well. The states in the northeast, especially with the current climate insecurity, we don't have enough businesses and transactions going on locally. So the IGR could be low at the moment. But I'd like to really reiterate this point. There are two things that are important here. The first is that the states are getting money. Whether they're getting a right percentage, whether they're spending some of that money on doing federal projects and not being refunded for, they are getting money. What we need to see is we've got to become a country where we're not just hearing from the federal minister how much a state is receiving, that we're also hearing from the states on how that money has been spent. And so we have to have a citizen and a critical mass of citizens who are asking those questions. Second aspect is the government, the federal government has been good to come out and say this is what the state is getting. But the federal government also needs to take the initiative to say, we received this amount as well, and this is how we spent the amount. And so when the federal government seeks that citizens hold their state and local government to account, they need to take some initiative to achieve that. They need to call civil societies, they need to call several groups and address them and break down the figures. This is what we earned in 2013. Not only what we spent, what we borrowed and why we borrowed. There's got to be that level of transparency. So we're saying in summary, there's need for citizen initiative to hold government to account on expenditures, but there's also need for the federal government, state and local government to take initiative to encourage that level of accountability.
Do you think part of what overshadows all of this suggestion, because some people think that the center is too attractive, make the center a lot less attractive, including the money's going there, because people are fighting to get in there and control resources. And that's why we have all of this. Now, if we were truly a federating state, I mean, if the federations were as strong as they ought to be in our laws, we may not necessarily have all this fight for the center and control the resources.
Well, let's take this scenario. If we say the federal government's revenue is cut down to, for purpose of illustration, 20%, and the state now gets 60 and 20 for the local government. I think that the 2015 election, for example, the fight would not be for the central, the fight would be for the states, because that's where the money is.
And that's where development should be strongest.
Exactly. So it is not where the money goes. It is what happens where the money is. So yes, there could be a time we will have to sit down again and review the percentages that is received. But I am of the opinion that if the federal government gets a lot of money, then the only way the federal government can be encouraged to perform better than it's doing at the moment is that there has to be a group of people that are constantly on their case. There has to be a group of people who are downloading the breakdown and are saying, okay, this is what we have. Can you tell us exactly what 1 trillion naira did for security? Can you break it down? How many tanks? How many helicopters? How many aircrafts? Can you break it down? In this era of social media, we can check prices of everything. We can confirm your spend.
And I think I think you're hitting it now on the head. This is the time for us to start to ask questions.
Exactly.
Because when we get to hear that some don't control security because they're not the big boss man in charge of security. But we're getting to see that some of these monies can actually be used properly to protect your citizens, so to speak. So now is the time for us to ask the question what states have been doing with such. And with this release, you say even the federal government should also tell us the lump that they have gotten so far and how it has been disbursed. So we're calling everyone to account for what they have received so far.
I think even more than that, when we say we're calling everyone to account, it seems like a generic statement, but it doesn't take, no one is taking ownership of that. I think that what is important for viewers who are watching this is to recognize that this is a democracy. For many of us who are in our 30s and 40s, we kind of spent our teenage years in a military regime. You don't ask questions. I mean, you had no idea what was allocated. You had no idea what budget was. Nobody asked questions. You just take what you see. But we're in a democracy. Unfortunately, our first civilian president, as we return to democracy, was an ex-military general. And his manner of governance, whatever his best intentions were, his manner was a bit like a military man. So from the Yar'Adua administration, we're beginning to see a bit of a democracy taking place. But as a people, the military culture is still inherent. So we need to look back at that culture and say, this is democracy. It offers an opportunity to say, I gave you the mandate to be in government. And that mandate means that you must come back and render account to me. So there has to be that culture shift. And when the people in government witness the culture shift by the people, they will begin to recognize, if we say we are allocating 10 billion to this, the people are going to find out how we spend that money. They're going to verify how that expenditure took place. So the call of the hour is not just is to, as citizens, to make a personal commitment, at the very least, know who your your local government councillor is, who your ward councillor, your local government chairman is, who is your representative in the State House of Assembly, who is your representative in the House of Reps, who is your representative in the Senate, and you have to be able to check on these people and write them letters. And in these days of email, it just takes a few minutes to send them email. I am from your area. I am checking on you. I'm checking on the committee you're participating in. And when is the opportunities to have their monthly or weekly surgeries, their meetings, you make time to attend. When these officials begin to see an engagement between the citizens and their representatives, they would begin to recognize the days of doing things as they wish it's over.
I'm looking at a statement, rather her speech at the Babcock University. There's the coordinator minister for the economy, and I'm trying to look at how objective she tried to put this speech, because I'm getting to see some states. So you wouldn't say these are PDP states. She had to acknowledge Lagos State, for instance, that Lagos State has greatly improved, especially in its environment and sanitation in recent years. And she says, now Lagos is a pleasant place to visit. And she also talked about Cross River, so many other states, and even Bauchi State has impressed her by absorbing millions of displaced people from those fleeing insurgency in the northeast. If we have to look at some of those states, I realize that some of the states in the northeast haven't actually been mentioned here, if I'm not mistaken, because I've actually gone through this. So can we start asking, for instance, state of emergency is in 3 of the states. What can they still function with what they have received so far, since there's no disruption in governance in these states? If these monies still come to them monthly, can we still ask them what they've done with it?
Yes, we can. Whatever the money is used for, the citizens of those states, and this is where we call them to action. As a people, we're all Nigerians. We're first Nigerians before we're from states or from ethnic groups. We need to join them in that voice, but we need people from Borno, people from Yobe, people from Adamawa to take the initiative of asking the government, in this time of emergency, what are you doing to prepare us for that time that we're hoping that Boko Haram would come, then there has to be programs put in place. There has to be programs designed and some level of implementation. So when we say, okay, Boko Haram is ready to cease fire, or the military has been able to curtail them, these programs are already taking shape so that we don't come back to that place where we found ourselves. It's no hidden secret that educationally, the Northeast is behind many parts of Nigeria. It's no secret that industries are lacking. It's no secret that opportunity for young men and women to do well, it's lacking.
You know, when we talk towards that, who do we hold responsible? Because if I have those facts before me that when monies are given to all states in the country, and maybe I'm from state A, and you say we're educational backward, who should I be asking why my state is still backward when I know that monies come to my state?
The state executive of the state, we call them the executive governor. Nice title to have, but they're really servant of the people because the mandate that they carry is a mandate of the people. That is the first shift. People cannot hold their government to account until there's a mindset shift. And that mindset shift is you're not there because you're the king. You're there because I gave you my mandate to lead us. When that mindset is achieved by citizens, in this case, in Yobe, in Borno, in Adamawa, what you then would have is citizens showing up at the state assembly when a budget is read to say, okay, we've noted how much you're spending on education. We've also noted on what you said the money will be spent on. At the end of the year, those citizens will call a gathering. The ones abroad, the ones in here, with social media, with website, with all the information you need. There are other citizens from other states who are ready to provide all the information and say, this is what we think you've spent the money on from our research. Can you come tell us what you have spent?